What is up, YouTube, Marvel fans? It's your boy Armand here for E equals MCU, and I was debating on whether or not I was going to do this video or how I was going to do this video. And usually I used to do episode reviews, but I don't really like going over or recounting what happened in the episode, because I feel like you already kind of known that if you've watched it, because it's usually spoiler filled, or if you haven't and you couldn't watch it, there's plenty of other reviews out there that do the same thing. So I didn't want to retread that not necessarily mistake, but just, I just didn't want to re-go over what somebody else has already done 100 times. So in this video, I'm doing a series review of the whole series, and I'm not going to recount the series. I'm just going to go over some of the things that I like and some of the things I did not like about the series. Now, with that said, it will be spoilers. So if you do not want to hear any spoilers, or if you haven't watched the whole series yet, do not watch this, because I am going to go over spoilers. But I did want to go in on a few things. Now, I really wanted to make a video about one specific thing about this, but I just figured I might as well go over the whole thing, because there's a few things on here that I wanted to touch upon. So with that being said, let's get into this. This is the Marvel Studios Hawkeye series. This is the last Avenger to get his own solo kind of series or movie, have you will. So it's supposed to really go through Clint Barton's story after Endgame, and this is what happens after Endgame. Now, in this series, a lot of people would argue that there was not enough Clint Barton in this series, and I will get to that when we get to the specific character breakdowns. But as a whole, I feel like this series is a staple for the MCU. It definitely added elements that were needed to the MCU that I'm very excited about going forward, and I wouldn't be mad if there was a season 2 to this. Now, it has not been announced or talked about, and they have said this is the lowest rated MCU show thus far, so I don't know if there will be. It's probably going to be trouble locking up Jeremy Renner long term to do another series to do this. So I kind of feel like what Marvel is doing is they're using all their characters to continue their stories. And what Hawkeye is a series that introduces us to the street level world of Marvel Studios. And I'm going to get into the breakdown of that. But first, let's go and let's talk about Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye. I like his story arc in this. The whole Christmas theme was perfect for him, being that he already has a family. And I'm going to get into his wife a little bit later, but just for his arc, I really feel like they did a good job with telling the story, explaining it. And a lot of people may not know this, but the reason why Jeremy Renner was not in the series as much is because it's reported that he wanted to spend time with his kids. A lot of people don't know a lot about his personal life, and how you feel about him personally is whatever, but just as far as for the character, I commend Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios for making this series for him and with him, and allowing him to be able to see his children so much throughout, and just being able to work with him as an actor on that landscape of it. So kudos to them for doing this, and kudos for him, because it's having kids myself. I understand how major that is, especially when you're dedicating so much of your time and self to a role. It takes away from other people that you love. So kudos to them for doing that, and that's kind of the reason why he wasn't in it as much. Now, Kate Bishop's character, a lot of people had a problem with Kate Bishop's character being the main focus of the series, but Haley Steinfeld definitely holds her own in this, and I can see why Marvel Studios fought so hard for her to be cast in a role. As you know, when this first was announced, they had already kind of anointed her as Kate Bishop before she signed on to do it. She couldn't do it because she was in with Apple TV with a different show in which she's a producer on, so it's more beneficial to her to have that show. I think things, because of the situation going on across the world, may have helped her in her favor, because I think they postponed her Apple TV show where she wasn't shooting, so she was able to slide this in and do it. And I think she still gets to go back to that show and do it. I think this was a perfect casting for her because, for me as an actress, the faces that she makes really, she really personifies what that character is supposed to be with the rich entitlement thing. And she just makes those faces. She did that in Bumblebee. She did that in her previous movies. I think that's why they wanted her so badly for this. She's perfect for that. She's the rich, arrogant type, but she's not likable. She makes it very likable to like her character, even with all of that going on. So kudos to her. I think she did a great job with this. I can't wait to see. I know there's rumors that she may pop up in Ant-Man Quantumania. So, they definitely have big plans for that character going forward, which is why you need an actress on Haley Steinfeld's level to pull this off. So, can't wait to see her again. I am a fan of her. Now, the next the character I want to get into is Echo. And I believe the name is Alaqua Cox. I really took to this character. I really like this character, and I don't know if it's just because she's actual deaf actress, but she really knows how to articulate the feelings that the character is going through or whatnot. She really is expressive, and I think that helps for the character actually in the show. She does a lot of her own stunts and stuff. She's I don't know, I think she's great just all around. I'm excited for her series. I know a lot of people feel like, why do we need her series? And I think the reason why is because, like I said, there probably won't be a Hawkeye season 2, but you can tell the stories from a lot of the characters from Hawkeye season 2 in Echo. And you can also introduce more elements, as we know we're going to get into the whole Kingpin thing, and possibly Daredevil in the cast, and the rumors of the Daredevil cast being included in her show. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for her as an actress to get that opportunity. And what Marvel Studios is doing is they're telling street level stories through each character, but those stories can kind of continue the stories of all of the street level characters and kind of build that world. And that's what they're doing here, and that's what I hope that they do correctly, but I'll get into that. Next, we're going to go into Vera Farmiga as the mother of Eleanor, of Kate Bishop. And I really felt like, again, an actress of her caliber, she pulled off a very good role. It left a little bit more to be determined just from the story in the writing aspect. Like, I think we all felt that she was probably Madame Mask, and she still may be, and they didn't really sum that up in the final episode. They didn't really give us what we wanted in confirmation of that or a hint towards that. But she definitely played the role with such character depth that we know that there's more there than they actually showed. And maybe some of that was cut. I'll try to get into that a little bit later, but I think she's a great actress. Obviously, if you've seen her in the horror movies that she does, and I think that having that edge kind of helped in this role. Now, the next character I want to get into is Jack Duquesne, the Swordsman. This dude had me cracking up the whole series. At first, they kind of played him off as that he would be the villain, and that's just misdirect. That's just good writing. That's what they're supposed to do. He carried the arrogance, and again, like everything about him, the twirly mustache villain, like he played all of that up so well, and he made it funny, and he made you like him. He's not like the character in the comics from the aspect of, he was the actual villain to Hawkeye, but there may have been changes there, and we don't know. I'll get into that a little bit later as well. But the scene with him, and then the whole thing with the Armand character, which is hilarious because my name is Armand, so every time they were saying Armand, I was like, I was cracking up. And then the fact that he said, Armands don't act like that. The actor that played Armand was talking to the little Armand. He was like, Armands don't act like that. That had me cracking up. And then the fact that Jack later in the series was talking to the Armand kid, and Armand was trying to say, well, I thought you were locked up. I was getting your wine collection and da-da-da-da-da. And he was just like, well, yeah, we all know that you peed the bed too, like he kind of put him on blast. So that whole interaction, that was hilarious. I hope we get to see more of him in the future. Now, let's move on to the next character who appeared in the series, major character, and that's Yelena. And I really feel like this is one of my favorite MCU characters right now, and one of my favorite MCU actresses, because I've been a fan of Florence Pugh ever since I saw the movie Fighting with My Family. And then when I saw her in, what is that movie? Midsommar, or however it's pronounced. I knew she had something special. And her in the role of Yelena Belova, it's like she brings so much to it with that nuance, and it's like that she's like funny, but kind of at the same time it's like watch your neck, because she could kill you at any moment. She pulls that off great. I love the chemistry between her and Kate Bishop, and the actress Haley Steinfeld. They really play that dynamic very well. I hope to see more of them together. And I really hope they give Yelena a Disney Plus series to kind of head up. I don't think Black Widow is a trilogy necessarily, or a film trilogy going forward for them. But I think this character could definitely pop up in Thunderbolts and, other MCU projects. And then it's just like to get more of her. Maybe we get all of that on a Disney Plus show. So that's what I hope they go with, just the Black Widows in general. But she is by far stole the show of the series. When she came into the series, it just brought a breath of fresh air, and she really killed it. The next characters, I just kind of want to give a head nod to the Tracksuit Mafia, because everybody knew they were going to be in the series. As dumb as they are, it works because it's funny. They gave them character. Each person kind of gave them character. The believability of where they've been this whole time. I mean, that's just how the industry works. They're just introduced. I'm sure they'll pop up in other things. And now we all know that they work for Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. So they have, something to do going forward where we could see them pop up. But they kind of stole the show as well. They made it, that fight scene with the one take in episode 3 with Kate and Hawkeye driving and everything. Like they were hilarious throughout. And then at the end of, them getting hit with the PEM particle and shrinking and making the van shrink, and then the owl taking the van. We'll see where that goes. But very good. Now, the next character, as I mentioned, is Vincent D'Onofrio's return as the Kingpin. And ladies and gentlemen, fans of the Daredevil show, this is not our Kingpin. And I'm kind of torn on this. His return was so hyped up, and I was so excited for his return. And Vincent D'Onofrio did the same things that he did in the Daredevil. Like, it was the same. He played the character pretty much the same way. My problem with the character, and my problem with how they did this, is, for lack of a better word, I feel like they Disney-fied him. And there's a big difference between the Kingpin and Hawkeye and the Kingpin and Daredevil. And the reason why I say that is because, yes, they made him more comic accurate for the most part. He wasn't much bigger. They didn't add any, I thought they would use CGI to maybe add bulk to him to make him really huge. But, they had him in the comic book accurate outfits. That was the whole thing with the Hawaiian shirt and the hat. It looked silly for his character because he's so menacing. Something about it did not work in that sense. And then the fact that they introduced him and had him fighting at the end, I felt like was the wrong move. I felt like with this reintroduction of Kingpin, I would have liked to seen him build up the mysticism to him a little bit more. Like, I didn't need to get him in the finale of Hawkeye. You know what I mean? Like, he's supposed to be pulling the strings. We kind of want to see the reign of his power and his puppets, and how far that goes, and how many different grueling, menacing things he can do without him actually being in the fight. I mean, like, even for fans of the Spider-Man games from back in the day when you played it, you fought Kingpin at the end. You didn't fight Kingpin throughout leading up to the end. You fought him at the end. and you could probably never beat him if you were like me in those video games, because he was that badass. And I kind of feel like they kind of took away some of his badassery in this show. Now, like, going forward, a lot of people are like, well, did they kill him? Is he dead? No, I mean, they're obviously doing the play on the comics where Echo shoots him and blinds him somehow. How they pull that off, they'll probably tell the rest of that story in the Echo series. My thought is he probably tries to grab the gun and she misses him when she fires, but like the blast from the gun gets in his eyes, and that's how he's temporarily blinded. But just everything from him getting hit with the car to getting shot with the arrow, I don't know how they're gonna play that. His power set was a little bit more off the chain, I would say, in this, a little more comic accurate, how he rips the door off. But when you don't have him in CGI form and he just looks like a regular man, I don't know, maybe that just doesn't come off correctly. And then the fact that he was getting kind of tossed around like a rag doll throughout the whole series, like, yeah, I get it that he's strong, and I don't know if they're gonna play the scenario. Maybe he's got some of the super soldier serum, and that's how he's a little superhuman with it. They kind of have to explain that, but I kind of feel like it just took away the mysticism from it, and it kind of took away his power. And now it's like I'm not as looking forward to seeing him, in Echo, and if he even makes it to Daredevil and Spider-Man. Like, to me, you have to play the long game with the Kingpin, and in order to do that, you need a lot of minions or a lot of cannon fodder that he puts up in their way. And they just kind of totally went past that. They went from teasing him to just totally like blowing their load. And that's my problem with it, my take on it. So you guys have to let me know how you feel about that, if you agree or disagree. But I definitely don't think it's the same Kingpin from Daredevil. But I think they didn't contradict it. They definitely left it open to where you could say he didn't get snapped. And then you could also say, well, maybe Daredevil and them didn't get snapped, and the events of Daredevil Netflix took place in the 5 years while everybody was gone, and you could totally get away with that. So him having the cane is comic accurate, but if you remember at the end of season 3 in Daredevil with the fight with Bullseye and Daredevil, he was injured. He had got hit in the leg, and you could just say, hey, that's a continuation. That's why he has the cane now. So I am excited to see the backstory and how they fill all of that in, but I kind of just feel like they messed that up. Now, as a series as a whole, I think they did a good job. I love these Disney Plus series for the most part. I would rank Hawkeye, I'm gonna give it an 8, but I'm just more excited because this is the street level heroes, guys. This is what it's going to be once they do introduce Daredevil, and then they go back into maybe Jessica Jones or something, and it probably won't be those characters specifically. It'll be other characters in the universe, and then they will tie them all in together, and they're gonna do this. That's what the Disney Plus is for. The Disney Plus series should be more for the street level heroes, and if Kingpin should be the overarching villain for all of those heroes. So now the other thing I gotta touch on, because I did make a video on this, is the wife of Clint Barton, Laura. She gets the watch at the end of the series, and she and on the watch it's a SHIELD logo in the back, and it says Agent 19. And anybody from the comics knows Agent 19 is Bobby Moore's Mockingbird. So they, in a sense, they confirm that without actually saying it, but they give you the confirmation. I actually love that, even though I am a fan of Adrian Palicki's Mockingbird and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm kind of starting to wonder if Feige and company is just taking what they want from Marvel TV that they liked. And because of that, that's the reason why all the characters have to be different. You're not going to get the same Daredevil, the same Kingpin, the same Agent. I don't even think you're going to get acknowledgement of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at all. And the reason why is because I don't think Feige cared for that show, and I don't think he wants to use or take any elements from that show and carry it over. So I think that kind of confirms, at least with that show specifically, because we all know Agent Carter is somehow canon. And that was already confirmed from Marvel Studios, but them making Laura Bobby Morse is actually interesting to me, and that's kind of why I want a season 2, but maybe they continue that in Echo. And then I have heard, and I don't even want to, forget it. I heard from someone that that character with Laura and the whole thing with her being Bobby Morse may be further explained in Secret Invasion, as well as Agent Sharon Carter, Agent 13 being in Secret Invasion, and there being a little bit more history to what's going on with that. But I kind of like the fact that they did make her Mockingbird, because it gives her character something, a little more complexity. And if we ever get like a team up with her and Clint in the field, we can kind of get that, we can kind of get that history, because I like the way they played it in the show. And then there are rumors that, the reason why maybe that was done is because she couldn't be on set with Jeremy Renner because of the pandy, and they shot those scenes specifically separately with her for that reason. But they did a good job, and I do feel like they got notes on this, and some things, the reason why the series finale didn't come together maybe the way a lot of us wanted was because they had a lot of hurdles to get over. And when things get mandated, it's like if Feige says, hey, well, this is the point where we got to get to, and however you get there, I don't care, but we just need to get to where Kingpin's introduced, Echo Show is set up, his list, whatever that is. It feels like some things were cut out. I don't know if they were shot and just cut or whatever the case may be, but it does kind of seem like it. All of the Disney Plus series, to me, except for Loki, their series finale just kind of fumbles the ball. And I think the reason why Loki didn't is because season 2 was already announced while they were making season 1. So they didn't have to try to ball it up in a pretty bow and give it to you and deliver. So I think that might be the reason why they kind of nailed it. They had something they could go into and set up and kind of leave on a cliffhanger. The rest of these shows don't have season 2s per se coming. They have spin-offs possibly, but not necessarily season 2. So I think that's why their series finales kind of just don't bring it all home. Like, they move really slow, and they do all of this expedition setup, and then when it gets to the end, it's like they're rushing and they're trying to get everything together, and it just doesn't flow. Like, maybe they need to make these 9 episodes or 10 episodes. Like, maybe 6 is just too short, as where like with Daredevil and Netflix, I felt like 13 was too long. They need to find that sweet spot. So and maybe that's why WandaVision is still my favorite. I think WandaVision was more so about the concept, and I'm a big concept person, so that's the reason why I favor that one. The rest of them are a little more straightforward, although all very different. But I don't know, man. I'm loving the Disney Plus show so far. I can't wait for Moon Knight. I can't wait for She-Hulk, even though her CGI looks wonky. And I can't wait for Ms. Marvel, even though that's probably not geared towards me. That's more of a teeny bopper kind of series, but I still can't wait to see all of these series. I can't wait for Secret Invasion. I can't wait for Armor Wars. I can't wait for Riri and Ironheart. And I want some more announcements on, what's coming after that. Like this Dora Milaje series. Give it, yes, please. Yum, yum, yum. I'll take that. And Black Widows. Give me that with the Red Guardian. And if they're coming back or whatnot, yep, give me that. So I'm hyped for all of these shows, man. Let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about Hawkeye and all these Disney Plus series shows so far, and where you would rank it, and just how you feel about some of the things going on in it. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'm out.